Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel, Stitchy Rach here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It is Thursday the 10th of June and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch because I like cross stitch. Welcome back everyone, or welcome if it's the first time you are here. Thank you for coming along and joining me while I waffle about cross stitch for a little while. Thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed and left comments. Really enjoyed reading them and I have tried to reply to everyone. Thank you for bearing with me last week if you were here. As you can see, we're back to our usual location. I was not discovered by anyone, but I do think I spoke quite quickly and quite quietly to get through everything and to also maintain my hiding place. So I am sorry if you did find me a little difficult to follow last week, but I will try and slow it down and be a bit louder this week. So the children are back at school. The house is just about getting sorted. I've had a lovely peaceful day. I usually film in the morning but had various things to do this morning. I do some things in our village and had to go into the village and sort some things out, and I had a couple of meetings as well. So I've left it to the afternoon to film. I was still getting a lot of glare from this window though, which is weird because the sun's moved right round now, but anyway, still a bit glary. It's been a beautiful week in Kent. We've had lots of lovely sunshine and been out in the garden. We have had a bit of a tragedy. As you all know, we recently got a new hen following the demise of Batman called Batman Returns. Well, sadly, Batman did not return for very long. We had 4 hens and we have always let our hens be free range in our garden, and we've never had problems with foxes before now. We've kept hens for about 5 years, and having never lost a hen to a fox, we have in the space of 6 weeks now lost 3 hens. Not late at night or early in the morning. The latest cull was about 5 p.m. in the afternoon, which is still very bright sunshine at the moment. And one of my neighbours did say that at this time of year the foxes can have some young, and when they have young they sometimes hunt during the day as well. So it could be that a fox has found a bit of a rich seam and has decided that there are good pickings to be had in my garden. So that was really sad. So Batman Returns was gone. There's a big pile of black feathers. And then I couldn't find our oldest hen, Mrs. McInerney. And she was a big wily hen and not scared of a lot. And she would chase our dog, who's a quite large Labrador, around the garden. She doesn't take any nonsense. And so at first I decided she must just be hiding because there were no feathers. She had a brown pelt and there were none of her feathers anywhere. And I just didn't think that a fox could possibly have taken her without a bit of a fight. But we're now kind of several days on and there is no sign of her. So I have to assume she got taken at the same time. And I'm really sad about her. We'd had her so long. She had such a personality. I just don't think she deserved that death. I'm very, very sad about it. So we have 2 hens left and they are shut up because if we do have a fox that thinks we're a good source of food, they will keep coming back. So for the time being, the hens are shut up and they are very, very grumpy with me. And we haven't got replacements yet. We're going to just leave it a month or so, just till perhaps the situation hopefully calms down and we're probably going to be away a little bit over the summer, so we'll just keep the 2 of them so we don't have a massive glut of eggs. But we will go back up to 4. It's the right number for us, and I'm sure there will be a Batman Forever in the new hens. We can't, we have to stop at Batman Forever, because after that, can you really call a poor hen Batman and Robin? That terrible film. And Batman Forever's bad enough. Anyway, so there may be a Batman Forever in our future. What else do I know? Thank you for the comments about my cool mug, which is getting loads of glare now off the window. Woo, there. I do really like it. I haven't got round to ordering any more yet, but that will be happening. So yeah. Right, well, you're here to talk about stitching, so I suppose we should talk about some stitching. So last week I was very kind of a bit non-committal about what I was going to be stitching, and I didn't pick the Snoopy Afghan back up. I decided I just wanted a bit of a break from it. I do enjoy it, but holding all that fabric, particularly when it's hot in the evening and then basically wearing a blanket on top of you to stitch it, I just didn't want to wrestle it, basically. So I had a bit of a break from that. In fact, it is still up in the spare room on the chair. I haven't even moved it from last week's filming, so that's a bit bad. Never mind. Right, slurp of tea. Yeah, so I didn't pick that back up. But after I filmed on Friday last week, it was Blackbird weekend, and I realised I have left what I wanted to show you over there. Bear with me. Here we are. So, wrong thing. Here we are. I was talking to a friend yesterday who was laughing at my seemingly chaotic life, and I did have to say, Dave, I'm the reverse of a swan. So it looks madly chaotic and like I'm in a complete flap, but under the surface I actually know exactly what's going on, and it's all completely organised. I just give the appearance of being an absolute scatterbrain. So yeah, reverse of a swan. Yeah. Right, so after I filmed last Friday, now I'm dropping things, it was the Blackbird weekend sale, which was started by Brenda and Laura. Brenda and the Serial Starter on Flosstube. And so I actually only have one Blackbird whip at the moment, so I pulled that out. Now I'm being a bit scattergun in my approach to this. So I don't have, you'll be really surprised to learn, any FFOs to show you. That's a fully finished object. So when you take a piece of stitching and you turn it into something to display. In fact, let's just put this away just for a minute. Sorry. As I said, reverse swan. So I don't have any finally finished objects, or fully finished objects, or finally flipping overs, as I like to call them, this week. As I said to you, now that the gardening season is upon us, I think realistically it's going to be kind of autumn, when there's less stuff to do outside, before I get back into the FFO groove, but hopefully I will. I do have a finish to show you. Sorry about that. I have a finish to show you and 3 whips. But what I thought I would do, which is why I put that Blackbird away for a moment, was I don't have anywhere in my house where my stitching is all displayed together. So there's lots of stitching dotted throughout the house here and there, but I don't have a display I can just put behind me and let you look at while I am recording. So what I thought I might do is bring some of my finishes each week to show you. So the first old FFO I thought I would bring is this one. Not because this is necessarily representative of my stitching now, or how I like to decorate my home. But I brought this one because this is the first cross stitch I ever finished. So this was, I must have been about 12 or 13, and this was could even have been 11. This was a Country Companions kit. I think it was DMC, and it was probably a present from my parents. And in the kind of mid-90s, when I was the age I was when I stitched this, Country Companions were all the rage. Forever Friends and Country Companions, and you could get loads and loads of kits. And this is the only one I have framed. So my parents, after I finished it, my parents paid for it to be framed. And the stitching up close is not great. It's not terrible, but you know, the stitches aren't lying flat and they're a bit wobbly and overlappy, but all in all, for a first attempt, it's not bad. And my parents got this framed for me at I know it doesn't exist anymore, but at the time we did live in Yorkshire, but my dad is originally from Accrington in Lancashire, and we were going there fairly regularly because my grandmother was still alive. And so they got this framed for me at a framing shop that used to be on Blackburn Road in Accrington. If any of you, Lynn, the Lancashire Stitcher, know that, I'm sure you do. And thank you very much for my shout out. So I still have this, and I think it's lovely to have my first finished cross stitch, which I still have in my home, and it's in one of my children's bedrooms now. And I love it. I do have several other Country Companions finished pieces that were never FFO'd in a drawer, and I also have quite a lot of the kits that were never started. And again, not because I don't think I put them on my wall other than in one of my children's bedrooms, but I think for very nostalgic reasons, because I stitched a lot of them as my first stitches. Yeah, I really just enjoy having it around. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and let me know if you, in the comments, if you would like to see more of the finishes I have around the house, because as I say, there's nowhere I can film that can give you a display of my finishes. So if you would like to see more, let me know, and I'll do kind of one a week until we run out. So there we go. So that was my previous FFO. As I say, no new FFOs this week, but I have got to finish, and I have just finished it. Well, I'll explain. I just finished it now while I was watching Michelle Bendy go through the things she has kitted up. I love videos like that. Whip parades, things that people want to keep or get rid of, things people, anything like that, where I can just like ogle projects I love. But I just finished it. It only needed a few stitches in it, and it is, I'm seeing if I can find the chart, it is the Lizzie Kate Flip It August. Now, I would have finished it a couple of days ago, but after my last video, because I was in the other location and I didn't tidy up properly, I took my out and about stitching bag out with me and realised I hadn't put this back in it. It was still on the floor. So then I had to stitch on the September one, and as you know, I can't cope well with moving out of chronological order. But anyway, I'm speeding up talking again, aren't I? I did finish August pretty much. Those blue X's at the bottom are missing 2 stitches because I ran out of that thread. I've got some on order, and I think it will be here today or tomorrow, but I am, for Flosstube purposes, calling this a finish. It is done. So that's my finish. Very pleased with that. And can move on to September proper now without this feeling guilty that August isn't finished. As I was watching Michelle Bendy, I got the project bag out that I keep all these in, because it's out and about stitching. There's always scissors in there, and my scissors are missing. They were there yesterday because I was stitching in the car at school pickup, and I wonder if they've slipped down between the driver's seat and, you know, the bit that has the gear stick in. So I'll go and have a route around the car and see if I can find them. I think that is where they must be. Anyway, and so then if I move on to whips, because I have this bag with me, obviously the other thing I stitched on this week was September, even though it wasn't in the plan because August wasn't finished. So this is where September is. So I finished the doors and the windows on the house, and I think I got some letters in, and I got that little sheep in. He is so cute. So September will look like this. There we go. So I'm sorry, it's nearly done actually. There's a bit of grass to put in the border, 2 more animals, and the end of the word September. So you never know, because this is now my out and about piece. By next week this could be done as well. So, I didn't do this last week as well. These are stitched, and on the August one you can see I've got July on the same piece. It's big enough to do 2 of them. So July and August together. The fabric is from XG Design. It's 28 count Permin linen, and it was a spring collection bag. So all these pieces came in the same bag. I bought it quite a while ago, but she does do some nice collections, so do have a look. And they're stitched in the called for. It's mainly Weeks Dye Works, but there are a couple of DMCs, but all the called for. And the colour I ran out of is, on the August one, is Capri by Weeks Dye Works. And I have some on order, and it should be with me in the next day or 2. So that's my out and about stitching. Oh, the other thing I've lost with these is I've lost the charm pack from inside here. It's not in the bag. I don't think it's in my stitching spot. I had a bit of a look yesterday when I realised it was missing. And I'll have a route around my handbag as well, because obviously it gets chucked in my handbag a lot. But because I take them out and about, they could have just got flicked out of the bag or something. So if I can't find them, I might have to try and see if I can find some. So the September one has a little ruler charm, and the October one has a little moon charm. And they were here not very long ago. I remember seeing them. So yes, I'll have to have a think about that one. Anyway, so that's a finish and a whip. Let's get that Blackbird back out now. So after I filmed on Friday, it was Blackbird weekend, which was started by Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda and Laura on YouTube. I'm sure you all know who they are. I don't need to advertise them. So I decided to stitch on my one and only Blackbird whip at the moment, which is from the Sewing Club Blackbird book. This is a great book. If you haven't got it, I would recommend. And I am doing the first project in that book, which is this drum pin keep, and it's called Rose Hips and Ivy. Ooh, lots of glare there. There you go. I don't think there are any other pictures of it in the book. Let me have a quick look. No, that's the only picture. So that is what I am stitching, and I stitched on that on Friday and on Sunday for the Blackbird weekend. And I am stitching it on 36 count Hog's Bristle by Fox and Rabbit. And this is where I am. So it's not the most exciting bit at the moment. It is border. Let me move that thread. Here you are. And that fabric is showing reasonably true there. So I think before I started, I was going to try and be fancy today and insert pictures of kind of where it was last time, because I quite like that, but I don't know how to do it. And because I ended up having to film in the afternoon, I'm a little bit up against the clock. and I think for next week I'm going to try and get my husband to show me how to set up his camera and do it on there, do my filming on there, because I don't think the camera on my computer is as good as it could be. Sorry, this is really boring. But then I think perhaps I'll try editing it then. But anyway, so when I picked it up at the weekend, I'd done that bit of the top border, and I think I was about 4 of those, well, I assume they're rose hips, those berries on the side down. So I did the rest of that side and started the border at the bottom. So still quite a way to go. I'm doing this in all the called for threads, which are Weeks Dye Works. There you go. I've lost the stitching now. So there you go, you can see them. The only thing I would say is that the 2 of the reds that are charted, and I don't know if it's just my dye lots, are Baked Apple, which is that one, and Brick, which is that one. They actually are showing a bit of a difference there on the computer. But in real life, particularly when they're stitched right next to each other, they do really blend in together. I don't know if it's just the dye lots of them I have. So these rose hips down the side that look like they're fully filled in. So you can see there are some that have got a different pink in the middle. And then there's some that look like they're fully filled in. But they're not. That's Brick and Baked Apple together. And I don't think you can really see enough difference. So it could be just the dye lots that I've got. Or they could be just very, very similar colours. I'm not sure. But I'm not going to change it now. It's in. I'm not pulling it out. Yeah, so 36 count Hog's Bristle by Fox and Rabbit with all the called for threads from the Sewing Club book. So that's what I did for 2 nights. And then since then in the evening I have pulled back out my alphabet sampler. I've only shown this on my whip parade. I don't think I've stitched on it since I started making Flosstubes. So this is by Lucy Heaton. It's called Bouncing Babies ABC. And that's what it looks like. Now, she charted this to be stitched on an Afghan, like a blanket. But I am stitching it as just a sampler. But they all fit in Afghan squares. So if you're thinking of an Afghan, that might be something you want to consider. It's a PDF and you can get it on her website, which I will link below, and it's charted in DMC. So I am generally a middle starter. So I've currently been working on the N block, which is here. N is for night. But I haven't done necessarily all the alphabet above that. I've done I, J, K, L, O, P, Q, T, U, V and W are what's completed at the moment. I'm now moving on to N, which is on my whip go board. So I'm not at N kind of chronologically through the alphabet, if that makes sense. So let me show you where I am. Here we go. That's where we are. Now, when I picked this up on Monday, some of it was done already. So I'd already done the squares. As you can see, I've already stitched some of these squares. They're quite time consuming because they're 80 by 80. Each one of these squares is 80 by 80. So I have pre-stitched some of the boxes. And then also on this one, I'd started this very middle bit here. So the pale blue and that bit of orange I'd already started. And I know that seems a weird place to start, but a year or so ago I was doing quite a lot of challenge groups where you have to stitch in a certain colour or stitch on a certain thing. And I really enjoyed that for a while, but then it started to become more of a chore, and counting my stitches became a chore. So I don't, at the moment, I might go back to it. But at the moment, I don't really want to be stitching like that. I want to just not to have to think, not to have to count, not to have to pull out something because of some other arbitrary challenge. So I had done that light blue and that orange. So this week I've done this capital N, and then I've started stitching the outside of this, and then you can see there's going to be kind of some tree silhouette, and this is the top of an owl that's sitting in the silhouette of the moon. And then I've got the smaller words to do is for night. These are really deceptive because it's 80 by 80. This motif in the middle is full coverage, and I think, I don't have pattern keeper or anything, but I just rough estimate think there are between 1,500 and 2,000 stitches in there. So they do take a reasonable amount of time, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being back on it. I am doing it in all the called for DMC, because with all that shading, I'm certainly not clever enough to do any kind of conversion. I don't think it would necessarily look right. And this is on a 36 count. So I got just white linen, and I'm stitching 2/2 on 36 count. I don't always stitch 2/2 on 36 count. The drum I just showed you, I'm stitching 1/2. But because of the type of design this is, I want the colour to be quite vibrant, and I'm happy with the coverage. Either way, I just pick what I think suits the project. This is 2/2, but the Blackbird drum is 1/2. If that makes sense. Cool. So that is all my stitching for this week. Plans for the coming week, I am carrying on with the alphabet sampler, and I am carrying on with the flippets for my out and about stitching. However, I think when I've done the September flippet, I want a little bit of a rest in terms of my out and about stitching from the flippet. So I think I'm going to pull out another one of my Lizzie Kate's, the Santa, the Dear Santa piece, and take that out and about with me for a little while, just for a change. The other thing that might come into my plans is, I haven't double checked the dates, but I think Stitching Book Club's new Sal is dropping this weekend. I think it's the first part's going to drop on Saturday. So Stitching Book Club is run by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts, the designer. They're on Etsy. I will link them below. And Stitching Book Club is a series of Sals based on classic novels. So they've done several already. They did a Pride and Prejudice one, Three Musketeers, A Christmas Carol. I haven't done all of these. I did some and not all. But this year they introduced a membership where you could sign up to receive all their Sals included in the cost. So apart from one, because there were some copyright issues, but included you get Sense and Sensibility that has already been done, and I have completed that. It's actually currently with my framer. I set him a little bit of a challenge, I think, and then it's a bit boring, but and none of it is his fault. He's an excellent framer, but I'm just waiting to get that back from him, and once I have it back, I'll show it to you. And this new Sal that's starting this weekend is Little Women, and I do have it all kitted up. And when I did the Sense and Sensibility one, it was the first time I have ever stayed on track with a Sal. It wasn't a stitch alone, Pam, it was a stitch along for once. And I really enjoyed keeping up, and I found that the parts only took a couple of days of my stitching to get done, really. So I'll see how I feel when it drops this weekend, but I think I might try and get that done. But generally, my alphabet sampler, my September flippet, maybe the Little Women Sal, see how I feel. And then if I finish the September flippet, maybe my Lizzie Kate Dear Santa. So they're my kind of nebulous plans that are swirling around. Okay, I think I'm nearly done. I have a little bit of haul. It's quite exciting haul. So I also have been a bit spendy but most of it's not here yet, so you'll get to see that next week. So, the first thing I bought, I'm super excited about this, I'm sure loads of you have it, was the Brenda Keys Ultimate Sampler Motif Source Book. This is so cool. It is just a complete, every page is jam-packed with little sampler motifs, and I can't really show you what's in it because it's just all chart. If I do this, let's see, I might have to edit this out afterwards, we'll see how it goes. But you might get some kind of idea. You see just how every page is just jam-packed. And it's like that all the way across the page. And it's basically just 74 pages of little motifs. So I absolutely love it. Not sure how I'm going to deploy them yet, but it's just amazing. I got this from eBay. It's a brand new copy, but the only place I could find in the UK that was stocking it at the moment was a seller on eBay. So go have a look at eBay. And then the other thing I got, perhaps timely, given that I lost a pair of scissors yesterday, is some new scissors. So I got this really cool bright pink flowery pair. And then I do already have a pair like these, but not in either of these colours. And I love these like little scissors with the big handles. I think they're so cute. I got these from Hoop Haberdashery, who are based near where I live in Kent, and I will link them below. They do sell online, and they're just in the process of a shop move. But I will link their website below, and they're all from Kelmscott, which I think are based in the States. Yes, 3 pairs of new scissors for me. So that was all my haul. Yeah, nearly finished. I'll just do a few quick Flosstube shout outs. Oh, by the way, StitchCon. FOMO is real. Every year, apart from last year, obviously, I get really bad StitchCon FOMO. I so want to go to StitchCon. I am so envious of all the people that get to go. So if you're there, please post lots of pictures to Instagram, and it will make the FOMO worse, but I really like seeing it. I would love to go. Obviously, this year, it couldn't happen because of the travel restrictions still in place in the UK. But even in a normal year, frankly, having 3 young children, I can't really say to the husband and the kids, see guys, I'm getting on a transatlantic flight without you for the weekend and spending all that money. It's just, sadly, not how life works when you have 3 young children. So FOMO is real. Over the next few weeks, during the 2 StitchCons, it's going to get so bad. I want to go so bad. So please enjoy it if you're there. I'm sure you will. I'm sure the organising committee do a great job. And the reason I remembered StitchCon was because I've watched Pam and Steph, obviously, as always. Great fun. Go and check out Pam's finish on that I'll Be Home Sal from Twin Peak Primitives. It's amazing. Pam's stitching and how much she can stitch just never ceases to amaze me. Told you I watched Michelle Bendy Stitchy. I've watched Momma Loves You GB as well. Really enjoyed her video as always. Stitchy Sally has her second video up. She's got some lovely FFOs to show, which obviously you're not going to see on this channel, so go check her out. Lynn, the Lancashire Stitcher, gave me a lovely shout out. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, she lives in Darwin, which is just down the road from Accrington that I was talking about earlier. So it's really kind of you to give me a shout out, Lynn. Lynn also has a finishing business, so go check her out on Flosstube and Instagram. I will link her below. I think that was it for this week on Flosstube watching. And I think that's all I've got for you today. So thank you for watching. I hope I spoke a little bit slower this week. I can't promise I did. I probably sped up. But thank you if you have liked or subscribed or commented or told other people about my videos. I hope you like what you've seen here today. I am just chuffed to bits that people actually want to listen to me waffle on about cross stitch. But as I say, that's all I have. I hope I also gave some parents out there comfort last week that, you know, sometimes you just need to hide from your kids for 20 minutes, and that is fine. That is fine. No hiding this week. Hopefully no hiding next week. And I don't have anything to say, so I'm just filling now. So have a good week, Stitchers. I'll see you later. Bye.